Hi friends, Demonic Angel. Just jumping on for another tarot lesson. I've been getting ready for finals for my online summer class, so I've been back but just not posting as frequently. But after finals that will change and be more frequent. So today we're going to do the Eight of Cups, indulgence. And you know, this is a it's kind of a, I think when most people draw this card, they aren't too happy about it, but you know, because they just see, I think immediate thoughts might be loss, but this card is so much more than that. There's no such thing as a negative tarot card. That there's always a lesson. So, you know, the eights, we're heading towards completion, and of course the Suit of Cups are emotional in nature. So that is what, you know, is going on in these cups. Now, the moon obviously really kind of, for me, brings that this is based on intuition and feelings. And this gentleman is choosing to walk away from his, this is the little story really, this gentleman chooses to walk away from his life. Although things aren't that bad, he still has, you know, 3 cups in the front of him that he could still have. All the cups are standing upright. We don't know for sure, but they're likely full. And he could easily stay with whatever's happening in his life, and you know, it would be fine. He has all he needs for basic survival on the, you know, Malinowski's hierarchy of needs. You know, his basic needs of survival are met. However, his spiritual needs are not truly being met. He knows that this life is intuitively, because I want to emphasize that this gentleman has thought a lot about his life. It's not like, okay, he's going to impulsively walk away from his life one day. He really put a lot of thought into this. And he came to terms with that he just needs to walk away. Now, when he walks away, we've got, you know, the mountains, very rugged looking. You know, there's not a clear path going through the mountains. So by choosing to walk away, he doesn't have the promise of his basic needs being met in the future. Health insurance, food and water, a place of lodging. He doesn't have any of that, because and we know that because he's just walking away with his cloak and his walking stick or sword, if you like, the extension of his consciousness. He's leaving with minimal supplies. So it's not like he's leaving in his, you know, in his Mercedes, and you know, he's really planned this out in the sense that he's gonna take all these supplies with him. This guy is walking away. Indulgence, okay? So that's kind of what that really is. And of course, it's like, for me, if you could see, it's like the waters have really dried up there. You know, you could see the rocks over here, and they're kind of, it's like, you know, when the tide goes back, it exposes all the rocks. So the emotions, the reason that this guy, that kind of points us to, the reason this guy is not really content in his life is because the emotions do not match up for him. The emotions of his life, his emotional needs. So, it's not, I want to emphasize, like I've mentioned, that it's not like somebody walking away, this Eight of Cups. This is something somebody has thought about for a while, and maybe it's not the right work, because, like, let's say, this kind of reminds me of this kind of situation, the middle-age crisis, let's say. You know, a guy, and he's married, but him and his wife have no real connection, you know? It's just bitter arguments, and he gives her lots of money, and they have 3 kids together, and they're all kind of disassociated from each other. And that goes on for a very long time, probably, because those kinds of things, the disassociation from one another, nobody starts out a married life thinking, well, I'm going to be married to this woman and our relationship is going to just stagnate. And I'm not going to be involved in my kids' lives. So because nobody sets out to do that, but it does happen, this is because of this gradual change, this gradual passiveness for all people involved going on. And eventually, though, let's say the gentleman is the person who is considering this in his mind. He'll think that, and he'll say, I've got to walk away, and I've got to go start a life that is spiritual. I've got to stop eating so much fast food. I need to be with a person because of my deep feelings. I need that. I feel a deep friendship, not just, well, you know, you whatever, you're here. We're just supposed to be here together. This is because it has to feel right. And I'm not shitting on this situation. If it feels right for people, then they should stay in that. And all involved are content. But I'm saying there's a moment in all of our lives of indulgence where we feel like, you know, and even if you don't walk away, there needs to be changes, because you're not just, you know, a number 1 or 2 on the hierarchy of needs, where, you know, basic needs met, and then number 5 being the highest, spiritual. We all need to achieve that. We really, you know, yearn for it. And so it's going to, you know, if you get kind of stagnant, everybody's going to feel that way. You've got to make changes. Maybe you should stay in your relationship, but make the changes to make it about the emotions and the feelings, the emotional depth. That is really what that's about. And it's not, like I said, it's not just a relationship type of situation, but we're really looking at a person's life. This is just almost like, I'd like to say, agnosticism in general for a person, where they're like questioning everything. For a period of time, they just kind of exist, because, you know, life is draining. So they lose themselves in that, and they lose that emotional connection to everything. So because they're no longer having a choice in what they emotionally need and want and crave, then we push that aside and we get discontentment, because you know, in order to really be content, you have to be attached to your life, at least connected. So not attached in like a bad way, where you're obsessed, but attached that, you know, all these different aspects of your life are really part of your identity that you feel are important to you. So if you lose that, and I think that everybody does in some way, I think that has happened for me, because it's just kind of part of being, you know, becoming an adult, I mean, that's the journey of the tarot, is that we are all of these cards. And that's just really true. I'm thinking that for me, when I look at this reversed, I see this guy staying in a situation even though there's nothing here left for him. Because if you hold it upside down, one of the thoughts I have here is, you know, we're not going to have any more water in the cups, so they're all going to be empty. And he it's either that there's just this emptiness, there's no more emotional gratification, but this guy could also think about it this way. He could turn around and see the cups that are still there if he was to choose to do that. But he is refusing to see what he still has. So there's that warning aspect of this, like reversed. You still have cups. You still have the emotional sustenance to make it. And don't take for granted what you still have, or use what you still have to plan your next stage in life. Don't just abandon all resources, all connections, because let's just say, you know, a relationship is broke up or whatever, right? Broke up. Oh my God. Then you don't talk to any of those people associated with that. Why punish everybody for just your feelings about one person? If you see what I'm saying, appreciate what you still have. The other kind of thing I'd like to say about this reversed is really that it is that, you know, the alternative here is that somebody does not want to leave, even though they should leave or elevate their situation in life. So they're just content with this mediocre kind of stuff. But they're not really content because mediocre stuff is not something that is satisfying. And so they're just going to stay with that because they think, oh, I'll never do better. There's nothing else out there for me. And they're too afraid to take the leap into the unknown. Because what we have to admire about this gentleman is he's setting off by himself into the unknown, and he is confident. I mean, he walks upright. He is confident that he is going to make this new life for himself. And he is taking the walk of faith over the mountains. So that would really, you know, that's why when people have that moment, the example I used, the guy who just has done all this stuff all this year, so he doesn't really think about, or you know, and he doesn't have the emotional attachments. But he goes, you know what? I'm just going to keep working this job I hate and be with this person, this woman. I'm not even going to try to make our relationship better. I'm not going to leave. I'm just going to exist because it's the safest, you know, what we know is the safest thing for us as humans. And so we really hold on to that. So there's going to be no changes made. There's no growth. So this guy is not choosing to engage the emotional opportunity for growth, because if you're severed from your emotions, you're not whole. And, you know, you get breaks in the psyche, the exasperations of mental illness. And that's just kind of, that's how that goes. So just some thoughts on Eight of Cups, indulgence. Let me know what you think in the comments, and probably having some videos out every other day or every couple days, something like that, until I'm done with finals. I'll see you guys later.